Hi guys, in this series of videos we'll be looking at density, Hooke's law, springs in parallel, springs in series, elastic potential energy, and an exam style question.
So what is density? Well, the density of a substance is just defined as its mass per unit volume. So you take an object's mass, divide it by its volume, and that's its density. Clearly, different substances have different densities. So a block of wood, for example, I've got a picture of one here, is going to be lighter than a block of iron of the same size. So if you imagined that you had a bit of wood that was the same kind of size as that horseshoe, they clearly would have different masses, even though they have the same volume. And that's basically what density captures. So we can find the density of a substance as follows. We just use a very simple equation. First of all, we need to write down the letter we use to represent density. And that's the symbol rho, as I've drawn here. And what we say is, well, if the density is just your mass divided by your volume, then your density can be found from this formula here, So that's density is mass divided by volume. So now we know what density is and how to calculate it. You simply take the mass of an object divided by the volume of that object to find its density. We use this symbol rho. What are the units of this quantity density? Well, we simply have to look at the right-hand side of this equation here. If we measure our mass in kilograms and our volumes in meters cubed, then we see that our density, we'll use these square brackets again to represent the units of an object, the units of a quantity, Then the units of our density is just going to be found by the units of mass divided by the units of volume, which is just going to be kilograms, for our mass, divided by meters cubed for our volume, which means that our density, the units of density are kilograms per meter cubed, and that's the unit of density, a mass by a volume. So that's relatively straightforward to work out density for a single object like this horseshoe here. We just said that was all iron. When you knew the density of iron, we could work it out just by taking the mass and dividing it by the volume of the object. What do we do for something a little bit more complicated? So sometimes we look at things called alloys. Now, an alloy is just a solid mixture of two or more metals. For instance, this is bronze here, and bronze is an alloy. It's actually an alloy of copper and tin. So it's mostly copper with some other stuff in there, and 12% tin is kind of the remaining. So how do we find the density of an alloy if we're given the density of the metals making it up? Well, that's quite straightforward. First of all, we're going to say that our total volume of whatever we're looking at, the alloy, is just V. And that's going to be made up of volumes V1 for our first metal we're interested in, and then V2 for our second metal. And those are going to have densities ρ1 for our first metal, making up the volume V1, and ρ2 for our second metal, making up the volume V2.
Hey guys, to continue watching this video and unlock hundreds of other super concise and exam board specific A-level physics videos, just click the Snap Revise smiley face. Join me today, and together let's make A-level physics a walk in the park.